Offline players have a huge advantage over online players. You have static maps and you also have the ability of adjusting the player settings to make some farming spots drastically better. Today I will rank my favorite offline farming spots. I ended up with 8 zones that are all very good and worth talking about, and I ranked all of them. The number 8 is the Eldritch, Shank and Pindle skin route. This route is very simple with minimal downtime. Take the waypoint to the frigid highland, kill Eldritch, then go kill Shank, and then take the waypoint back and kill Pindle skin. Just don't forget that when Shank dies, he kills a lot of monsters around him, so don't leave immediately. Stay a second or two and look around in case something drops. A run should normally take between 60 to 90 seconds, so it's very good for XP and early upgrades with practically zero downtime. The only downsides are that this is not a level 85 zone, so they can't drop everything in the game, and like with most zones in this list, monsters in there will have immunities, so it's a lot easier if you already have a Sunder charm. But if you don't have a Sunder, there's a specific zone later in this video that have very high drop rates for Sunders. Overall, I recommend this zone if you just finished the hell difficulty and you want to get some easy XP and basic upgrades. Number 7 is one that is very important to mention in single player, Lower Kurast. If you're looking for high runes to make something like Enigma or Infinity, this is by far the best zone in the entire game. You don't have to kill anything. The only thing you have to do is to get a good map with 6 super chests next to the waypoint, open the super chest and the poppables around them, and repeat. If you can teleport, you should take the waypoint back and go to Act 4 to make the runs a bit shorter. But if you can't teleport, just leave and start the next game in Act 3. And if you can teleport, you should get the highest faster cast rate breakpoint that you can, and if you're running, get as much faster run walk as possible. And this is a very quick explanation of what a good Lower Kurast map looks like. Basically, when you see a campfire like this, there will always be a house to the left with 2 super chests inside, and there will always be a shorter house to the right with 1 super chest. There will also be 2 walls right there. So this is the pattern that you have to look for, and ideally you want 2 patterns like this, which I have in this map. The waypoint is a little bit far in this example, but since the 2 campfires are very close to each other, it's still a very good map. This example is from my single player video, where I farmed Enigma from scratch with a barbarian with very high faster run walk, and it took me 21 hours. And on top of getting runes, I also found a ton of skillers and GG small charms. If you want to see how good this zone is, the link for this video is in the description. Zone number 6 on this list is one that everyone knows about, Travs. The councils have increased drop rates, so this is also a very good zone for high runes, but they can also drop a ton of other stuff, like charms, rings, amulets, jewels, gems, items in general, and a ton of gold. If you like to gamble, this is one of the best zones in the game to farm gold. It's also a very small map, so downtime will be very minimal. But unfortunately, this zone also has many downsides, which is why it's only number 6. The council members hit very hard, so you need to be able to kill them very quickly before they can kill you, or you need to be tanky enough to be able to survive them. But if yourself or your mercenary are taking too much damage, you can run down the stairs, heal up, and come back. You really need to have very high resistances for this zone, otherwise you won't make it. And also ideally get some items giving fire absorb like the Rising Sun amulet. If you have this item, the hydras will literally heal you. But still, even if this zone is very difficult, this is by far the best farming spot in the entire game for the Orc Barbarian build. And it's a very nice farming spot for people who want some very fast runs, like in a 15-minute work break for example. By the way, thank you so much everybody. We made it to 10,000 subscribers this week, which is honestly something I never expected would happen when I started this channel about 10 months ago. I really appreciate every single one of you for watching my videos and supporting the channel. Thank you all so much for the support. Now zone number 5 is the secret cow level. If you have a good map with Tristram next to the waypoint and you already explored the cow map, you will have very minimal downtime, so this spot is a lot better for single player than it is for online. The monster density is also crazy high, so you have a lot of chances of finding a little bit of everything, but most specifically runes, charms, gems, jewels, and rune word bases. And the very good thing about the secret cow level is that these cows don't have any immunities except the elite ones. Unfortunately, this is not a level 85 zone, so the cows can't drop everything in the game. Also, they have a very high amount of life, so even if they don't have any immunities, you need to at least already have decent gear to be able to farm them efficiently. So this zone is very good if you already have decent gear, if you're playing a build that has very good AoE damage like a Nova Sorceress, Javazons, Hammerdins, or any Warlock builds, and if you're specifically looking looking for stuff like runes, gems, or rune word bases. Zone number 4 is the pit. This zone has a lot of advantages and very little downside. First of all, this is the first level 85 zone of this list, so monsters in here can drop every single item in the game, and they're not even challenging to kill. In fact, it's the easiest zone of this list, which is a little bit crazy. These monsters are very easy to kill, but at the same time can drop everything in the game? Yes, that's exactly right. This zone feels like a cheat code when you're doing a playthrough. I farmed in there for my Boazon and Throw Barbarian videos, and it was very easy even with terrible gear. And in a very short time I found Mevina Helm, a Vex Rune, and Guillaume's Face, La Face Fatiguée. Also, a good thing is that there are 2 possible ways to reach the pit. You can take the Outer Cloister waypoint and walk outside in the Tamo Highlands until you reach the pit, which is generally the faster way, but sometimes taking the waypoint to the Black Marsh and walking to the pit from there will be faster. The only downside is that monsters have immunities, so you have to either diversify your damage or have a Sunder Charm. But overall, this zone is excellent for almost every build in the game, even with very mediocre gear. You could literally reach hell and farm exclusively in the pit without farming anywhere else until you get all of your best in slot gear. It would be very repetitive, but it would work. Zone number 3 now, Mephisto. If you have a good map, this is the fastest way to get many good upgrades in the game. He can't drop every item in the game like Tal Rasha Armor or Tyrael's Knight for example, but he can drop almost every items you need for every build. Runs can be extremely fast, especially if you're a sorceress because you can teleport to level 3 and teleport straight to him while skipping all the council members, and you can even kill him without gear by doing the moat trick. If you're not playing a sorceress, the runs will be a little bit longer because you have to kill everything before reaching him in level 3, but it's still worth it. Also, there's a super chest behind him with a weapon rack to the right and an armor rack to the left, and you should always open them. There's practically no downside from farming Mephisto. He's quite easy and he can drop a lot of stuff very consistently. He's especially good for fresh hell characters trying to get a lot of upgrades very quickly, and for players who need a specific upgrade like Shaco, Arachnid Mesh, War Traveler, etc. I have a lot of videos farming Mephisto, and I made one recently where I did 1000 runs starting with 0 gear, and the results are very surprising. The link is in the description of this video. And now zone number 2. Andariel. Yes, I ranked Andy higher than Mephisto, and for a very specific reason. She has much better drop rates for very difficult to find upgrades, especially for the Stone of Jordan, Opal Vein, Sling, Tal Rasha Amulet, Geed, and Sunders. Her drop rates are about twice as good as Mephisto's. In fact, for these items, she is literally the best boss to farm in the entire game. For example, I didn't find a single Geed in 5 weeks of very intense farming on Season 14. I farmed everything from Mephisto, the Cow level, Chaos Sanctuary, and much more. No Geed. 0. But as soon as I started farming Andariel, I found my first Geed. Just like that. 2 downsides that she has compared to Mephisto is that you have to find 2 floors before reaching her, and it can take a while to find a good map, especially if you don't have teleport. But when you find a good map, she's as fast to farm as Mephisto. Also, she has a smaller drop table. She can't drop Arachnid Mesh and Andariel's Visage, for example, which is very ironic because it's literally called Andariel's Visage. And this is the zone that I referred to earlier when I said you can find Sunder Charms quite easily. I found more Sunders in 2 days of farming Andariel than I did in 5 weeks of farming other zones, and you will be able to see this for yourself. I will post a video very soon, farming Andy 1000 times, starting with 0 gear. Overall, this is an excellent zone to farm if you want to get quick upgrades, and you don't even need a Sunder Charm. And she has minus 50 fire resist, so she is very easy to farm if you have a fire build. Now zone number 1, Chaos Sanctuary. This is in my opinion by far the best zone in the game for magic find. This is a level 85 zone, so you can find every item in the game. Also, there's no downtime at all. You take the River of Flame waypoint and you kill everything in front of you. You should not skip the monsters in the River of Flame because this is also a level 85 zone. In fact, this is where I found my first Tyrael's Knight ever. And right after, I found a low rune at the exact same spot. And not only can these monsters drop everything, but the ghosts also have increased rune drop rates. So this zone is excellent to farm high runes. It's also one of the best zones in the game to farm for bases, charms, gems, and pretty much everything else. And not only that, but there's also Diablo at the end, and he can drop a lot of very good unique items. But it's important to mention that Diablo and the sealed bosses can't drop everything in the game. They have a slightly lower treasure class level, but everything else spots in the River of Flame and the Chaos Sanctuary can drop everything. The only downsides of this zone is that monsters in here can be quite difficult to kill, so you need at least relatively good gear and a Sunder Charm to farm this place efficiently. And if you're looking for specific items like Shaco or Stone of Jordan for example, it would be much easier and faster to farm Andy or Mephisto instead. But overall, this is an excellent zone to farm if you already have decent gear and if you want to find a little bit of everything. Runes, bases, charms, gems are very difficult to find chronicle items, and the XP is also very good. So to farm as efficiently as possible, this is how I would farm if I had a new character and just finished the hell difficulty. I would begin with Eldritch and Pindle to get some easy XP and chances to find good bases, charms, and upgrades. Then when I have enough gear, I would farm Mephisto and Andy until I have all the basic gear I need. Then if I'm strong enough, I would jump immediately to the Chaos Sanctuary until I get my best in slot gear. If I'm not strong enough, I would farm the pit until I'm able to farm in the Chaos Sanctuary. And if I need high runes, I would farm the super chest and lower Kurast. If I need bases and charms, I would farm the cow level. And if I'm a Hork Barbarian, I would farm Traz. I hope that video was helpful and fun to watch. I will keep making guide videos like this in the future, so be sure to subscribe to not miss any future uploads. Massive thanks to the channel members for supporting the channel. Thank you so much for all the support. And thanks to all of you for watching this video until the end. And as always, happy grinding.